Hi, everyone. In person, it's so good to see real human beings in the room and everyone online. Happy Friday. As always, let's start on our backs. Of course, if you prefer to, start sitting, please, by all means, have a seat and find a comfortable seated shape. Or starting on your back can be quite nice. You can let your knees bend, can let your arms come down by your side, or maybe one hand rest on your lower belly and one hand on your chest. Gentle reminder, especially if you're at home or in your office, not in person, that you just take a look around and double, triple check you're in a really safe space. And that we all have agency over our practices. So if something doesn't feel comfortable or safe, please, please, please remember, you know your body's better than anyone. And so you can back out of an exercise at any time. There's never any reason to not back out. So if you need to, you can always, always, always do what you need. So we'll take a couple moments to relax and try and settle. You might find it helpful to feel the stability of the ground, of the earth beneath you. Gently reminding ourselves of how strong this surface, how strong the earth is, how stable. As we take a few breaths, allowing your breath to help you let go, to drop, release into that support, into the strength of the earth beneath you. Giving yourself an opportunity, some time and some patience to check in. We'll do a short, meaningful body scan, starting with your feet. So sitting or lying back, bringing some physical awareness to your feet. You might wiggle your toes a little bit. Just checking, what does it feel like? Feet connecting, toes connecting. What would it feel like if your whole foot, right foot, whole foot, left foot were dropping into some warm, moist sand? Might change the whole feel of your body if your feet were anchored, warm, and grounded. And the toes and the feet connecting up through the shins into your knees, into your thigh bones. So the awareness of your legs, feeling your right leg, and feeling your left leg. And the legs connecting into the pelvis. Just bringing some attention to the pelvis, the weight. Might feel your sacrum there in the back, in the middle. Grounding of the back of the hips, the weight. You feel this connection of the sacrum, the pelvis, the legs, the feet, taking a few breaths. It's a wonderful opportunity to also practice mindful self-compassion. So as we scan the body, practicing as we scan from a place of kindness, taking care of ourselves, and then how the pelvis and the legs connect. We feel the breath a little more there, then down in the lower back, around into the lower belly. You might be a human who holds a lot of tension in the pelvis, in the lower back, even into the lower belly behind your navel. Just giving yourself a few moments to notice with curiosity and kindness and breathing here. Low belly, sides, low back. And adding the lower rib cage. You might bring your hands, if it's helpful, to your lower ribs. Front lower ribs, side lower ribs, back lower ribs. Scanning, noticing, breathing, feeling the breath. From the lower ribs going up through the rib cage. Just taking your time, the front of the ribs, the sides of the ribs, the back of the ribs. Right side lung, right side rib cage, left side lungs, left side rib cage. All the way up into the middle of the lungs, into your heart space. Going up from the heart into the throat and the neck and the jaw, the roof of the mouth, the face, the skull. Again, that wonderful opportunity here to practice mindful self-compassion as we notice and we breathe. Each one of us feeling something similar, but very, very different. We might want to connect the whole body, toes, feet, legs, pelvis, ribs, spine, arms, shoulders, collarbones, throat, jaw, skull. Each one of us having our own unique experience with our breathing. We'll take about 5 breaths. Just noticing whatever it is you're noticing in this moment. Feeling your next exhale. And then as we're lying on our back, so if you're in a seated shape, let's come onto your back. You're going to bend both knees and just bring your right knee up over your right hip. And we'll all move a little differently here. We're just going to warm this leg up and feel how it feels in your hip socket today. So You could bend and straighten the leg a couple times at your knee if you wanted to. You can roll your leg out and in a few times. You could make some circles. Being creative. Can you feel how that right leg bone moves around in that hip socket? And then as you're moving that leg around, also really aware of the weight of your sacrum. So that triangular bone right between your two back hips. We're going to try and keep that sacrum along with the back left hip really pretty grounded as you move that femur thigh bone around. Going in lots of different shapes and directions. Move at your own pace for understanding how the thigh bone rolls like a rolling pin. It goes out and in. And then we can bend and straighten at the knee, maybe work in the ankle, pushing and pulling a little bit, maybe making some foot ankle circles. And you could thread that awareness of the body scan. And then we'll slow the right side down and bring the right foot back to the floor. Give yourself a couple breaths just to find a little more right side, left side awareness. Come back to feel your breathing. Did anything shift or change? And then when you're ready, grounding through the right side, which really means physically grounding. We're trying to keep that right back hip down, that right heel pretty heavy. Awareness of the sacrum as the left knee comes in, maybe bending and straightening at the knee. Again, rolling the leg, moving it around. Some external rotation, moving it out and in. This relationship of mobility with stability. So you feel, notice what's really stable here. Can that right side be that anchor of stability as you move a little more into the left side? Feeling, being a little more present with your body moving. And then we'll slow that left leg down. Maybe you straighten it, do a couple ankle push and pulls, circles. And then in a couple of breaths, we'll bring the left leg down. And we'll just rest on your back for a couple of breaths. Coming back to what we might consider a baseline. And we'll give ourselves 3 breaths. Might do a really short, quick, meaningful body scan with those 3 breaths. And then as you take your next exhale, let's roll all the way over or all the way on up to sitting. And just work a little bit on connecting our spine all the way from our tailbone. Let's try and just connect the spine from the tail down here all the way up through the crown of the head. So we'll hold on to the back of your legs. Give yourself a moment to anchor the sit bones. And then lift up through the back of the ribs. And then drop your chin a little bit. As you drop your chin, then you can draw your upper ribs, lower ribs back. Maybe feel that rock back towards the bottom or back of the sit bones, and then feel your tailbone. So your tailbone's kind of tucked under now. You're going to find like a C curve, some rounding. And then using the strength through your upper back with your abdominals, we're going to pull ourselves back up on the top of the sit bones. Just feel that subtle change from the bottom of the spine to the top of the head. One more time. Can you feel that subtle change? Skull, neck, upper back, middle back, lower back as you come onto the back of your sit bones. And then that change in the spine, tailbone, lower back, middle back, upper back, neck and head sitting up. So a little more challenging, your choice. If you want to keep using your hands and your arms here, by all means, option 1. Option 2 is going to be taking your arms out. Maybe you hold them out a little wider. And then that subtle, or maybe not so subtle feeling as you trickle down your spine, making this C curve. And then coming back up on your sit bones. We'll just do 2. Noticing the strength that it takes to move through the vertebrae. And coming back up. When you come back up that second time, just let your arms come down, hang out. Even sitting, we can do a really short, meaningful body scan, check in. Can you feel a connection from your feet all the way through your legs, through your spine, to your skull? And then we'll take a couple exhales and build our tabletop. So flipping over into tabletop. Remember in your tabletop that we're pushing the floor away, trying to find length from the crown of the head out through the tailbone. Maybe you feel your sit bones a little easier than your tailbone. So sit bones drawing back, shoulders coming into the upper back, shoulders drawing down out of your ears. And you have that feeling of the spine going up to the ceiling a little more than the spine sagging to the floor. And then again, much like what we just did when we were sitting, connecting your head all the way down to your tailbone through your spine. So ears stay in line with shoulders. So lift the head and then tuck the chin, feeling the head, the neck, the upper back, rounding your middle back, rounding your lower back, pelvis, tailbone, cat pose. Then releasing from the tail, pelvis, low back, middle back, upper back, neck and head. 2 more on your own. Might thread some of that awareness of your body scan, how we stayed really present, connecting the body through that scan. This is a nice place to practice that. As you're working a little more with the mechanics of the spine, and the strength of the core to find flexion and extension. We'll do a total of 3. You want to move really at your own pace for understanding. So might feel a little bit like you're trickling down. You might visualize your vertebrae were beads on a wire. You're moving those beads on the wire. And if you get back to table, you can pause in your table and breathe through your back. So we'll meet back in a strong table, giving ourselves time to reconnect to the strength of holding the table. So again, you could look and use your mat, almost like your mat were a table, and you're going to push that table into the earth. You want to push down, feeling the strength of your fingers, connecting all the way through your arms into your upper back, under your shoulder blades, nice and broad. And look down that you can see your elbow lines in, okay? So your elbow lines face in and your elbow knuckles face out. Sweet. If you want more challenge, curl your toes and float your knees off the floor just a little bit. You got to push even more. Try and keep your shoulders from coming way up into your ears, and then maybe you lift your knees a little higher and go to downward facing dog. If that's a little challenging, no big deal. Come back to table. And then maybe press back to child's pose. So either refind your table or press back to a child's pose, or even just sit back and shake out your wrists a little bit. Okay. So we're going to take a 5-breath break. Child's pose might be where you go, sitting back, shaking out your wrists. And again, give yourself a moment to notice what you notice. And then coming back, shifting some attention back to your breathing. We'll build one more tabletop. From your tabletop, your choice. Floating table will be a little more challenging. You could hold your tabletop for about 3 more breaths or go straight back to downward facing dog, your choice. So if you want more challenge, keep your floating table going and then find your downward facing dog. If you're ready, go right back. When you get to dog, lift your heels, bend your knees, and then see in your own body if you can really feel the weight press back, pulling the hips and shoulders back off the wrists. And then we're going to take a 3-breath body scan on your own. Check from your feet through your legs to your pelvis, through your spine, shoulders, arms, head. And then when you're ready, full exhale. We'll walk your feet and hands together. Bend your knees as much as you need and slowly come all the way on up to standing. If you're here in the room, you can turn to look out at the lake. And we'll just pause for maybe 5 to 8 breaths, probably about half a minute. Just giving ourselves an opportunity to re-anchor ourselves into the ground, into the earth. To soften where we can soften, strengthen, notice. Welcoming the breath back into the present moment. And then a half of a sun salutation. So if you want to look out at the lake, if you're in the room, fabulous. Keep looking out. If you need to turn to face the front of your mat and look at me, that's great too. So face where you want to face. We're going to find our standing mountain, and with your exhale, slight little bend in your knees. We'll sweep the arms out and up with the exhale. Inhale, let your arms pull down and in. 2 more. So exhale, arms swing out and up. From your breath, inhale, down and in. Adding on this time, exhale, arms go out and up. With your inhale, bend your knees, fold forward. Good. Inhale, coming all the way back up. Exhale, arms to the side. 2 more. Exhale. Arms go out and up. Inhale, bend your knees, fold. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, arms to the side. Exhale, arms out and up. Inhale, fold. Exhale all the way up. Inhale, arms to the side. 5 breaths. Coming back, checking in, noticing, feeling, present moment with your breath. With your next exhale, stepping your feet wide. So again, face wherever you want to face. Heels are going to turn in a little bit. Heels in, toes out. And give yourself a moment. We come back in this class over and over to midline. So using your ears to come over your shoulders. Shoulders stack over hips, okay? So just feeling your body a little more in space. Try to keep your ears back as you let your knees bend. Taking that wide squat and coming back up. Okay. Exhale and inhale. Sweet. As you come up, pause for just a moment and bring your hands to your lower ribs. See if you can reconnect to the breathing through your ribs. So when we exhale, the ribs are going to draw down and in. And you might feel that subtlety of the navel drawing back towards the spine. Okay. So can we keep that feeling of the breath to help support the low mid back as you go up and down here? So with that body awareness, you can feel the hip creases go back a little bit, the knees bend, flexion in the ankles. There we go. Nice. As I look around the room, I see a lot more hip flexion now. Great. 2 more. And then let's let your arms come down. And then exhale, arms go out and up, knees bend. Inhale, come all the way up, arms come in. 2 more. Exhale, arms out and up. Inhale, arms down and in. Last one like that. Exhale, out. Inhale. Nice. Left leg's gonna roll in. And right leg's gonna roll out. About heel to heel. Bringing your hands back onto your hip bones. Back to your breathing. Exhale, ribs drawing down and in. Subtlety of navel to spine. So if we think of yoga core, that lower core, ribs, right, to pelvis, nice and strong as you bend and straighten your right knee 3 times. You got it. Knee going out over your middle right toes. Good. Next time your right knee straightens, pause. Just let your arms hang. You might see the theme happening here. Exhale, bending your right knee. Arms swing out to come up. You got it. Inhale, arms come down to come in. Exhale, bending, arms swing out to come up. Inhale, straightening, arms come down to come in. Last one. Bend the right knee, take your arms all the way up. And then tip at the hip and bring your right elbow to your right knee, side angle. Good. Just look down, check that your knee's going a little more over your right middle toe. And then we're going to bend your left arm and bring your left hand to your rib cage. Can you feel here the ribs drawing down and in? Feel the breath in that left hand, 3 breaths. What does your breath feel like? When you feel your next exhale coming all the way on it. Both feet face forward, arms come to the sides, pause. Take a moment to check in, notice and feel your experience. What's your breath feel like? Where do you notice the breath in your body? 3 more breaths. And your right leg rolls in and your left leg rolls out. The awareness of the lower ribs with the hips, that strength and tone through the lower abdominals, just 3 times, bending, straightening. Moving from the awareness of your breathing. Great, then we can add the arms. Yeah, so we'll exhale, take the arms out and up. Inhale, straighten and pull the arms down in. A couple more. We won't all stay together because we're all moving from our own breath. Next time the left knee's bent and the arms are up overhead, we'll pause. And then we'll tip, elbow to knee. Right hand comes on the right side of the ribs. Just give yourself a moment, pausing, letting that right hand just hang out with your breath. Grounding, feeling the stability of the earth, pull yourself back up. And step your feet together. Turn to face the back of your mat, let your arms hang. If you're in the room, feel free to look out at the lake. Soften. Breathe, notice. 5 breaths. Can you stay present and feel 5 breaths? As you're breathing, you can notice what you feel. Just really paying attention to what you feel with curiosity. Noticing what you feel with kindness, taking care of yourself. And let your eyes gently open. Exhale, we'll swing your arms out and up. Shoulder blades slide out and up. When your arms come up, we're going to have just a soft bend in your ankles and your knees. See if you can come back to feeling the breath, especially that feeling of the exhale with the ribs drawing down and in and the subtleness, of your navel to your spine. And then we'll fold all the way over with your next exhale. And we'll just take a forward fold, maybe let your head hang, bend your knees, check in with your lower back. See if you can feel your navel draw up a little bit, helping to support your low back. And then we're going to walk your hands all the way out to a tabletop. And then we'll lower all the way down onto your belly. We'll stack your forearms right underneath your forehead. So You can stack your forearms, tuck your chin, and bring your forehead down. And then give yourself a moment to try and just soften through the front body. To encourage your exhale to help the front body feel a little closer to the earth. And then an opportunity to breathe and notice what you feel across the back of your ribs, the back of your lungs. So if we use that body scan idea, and if you're going to scan the back of your lungs, you take a moment to breathe into the back of the lungs, scanning what do you feel in the back right side? What do you feel in the back left side as you breathe into your lungs? And the awareness of both right and left back lungs. Breathing in your lungs in relationship, can you feel your shoulder blades? You might move your shoulder blades around so you can feel them. And putting those shoulder blades on your back. So that might feel like someone's hands pressing your shoulder blades down. If your shoulder blades were weights and those weights were heavy on the back of your ribs, could you take a couple deep breaths to breathe up into the shoulder blades? And then really lengthening, feeling long. You can bring your legs together and really reach your toes back. And then grounding through your forearms. With your inhale, we're just going to slowly peel your chest up a little bit. And with your exhale, lowering down. And moving from the feeling of your breath, inhale, chest peels up a little bit. Exhale, going down. Little more challenge, chest lifts, right leg lifts. Exhale, chest down, leg down. Inhale, chest lifts, left leg lifts. And going up and down a few more times with your breathing. Long and strong through your lower back, lower abdominals. You feel the movement between your shoulder blades and that middle spine. Maybe most importantly, you're working from the inside out. Working just the right pace and rhythm. Balancing energy with rest. One more right leg, one more left leg, and then we'll come down and rest. And then as you come down and rest, letting your forehead come all the way down to your forearms. And then again, just an opportunity to let the chest get as close to the floor. To bring your awareness to the back of your rib cage, back of your lungs, 3 inhales with 3 exhales. And then let's challenge ourselves to a little more strength. So you can reach your arms way out in front of you. And then just pull the arms back to come up on your forearms. So plant your hands so they're really strong. Fingers are strong through your forearms. And then from right here, looking out in front of you a little further, see if you can soften the gaze. And then using that body scan, notice if your shoulders are way up in your ears and you're falling into the floor. So you could push through your forearms, soften the shoulders a little bit, or maybe a lot out of the ears. And then we're going to slowly peel your belly button up off of the floor. And you'll let your belly button come back down. So this might be right where you work. If you want more challenge, curling your toes. Got to engage your hamstrings, so the back of the legs. And then you're going to slowly feel the peeling of your belly button and your pubic bone and maybe your thigh bones. And you might have to reposition your forearms and then you'll lower back down. Okay? So you might have to bring your arms back a little bit. I always feel it helps if I'm pulling myself forward a little bit, have that feeling I want to pull myself forward as I peel up. And then after 3, we'll press back to a child's pose. You might not lift your knees, that's okay. And then you'll bend your knees, round your back and press into a child's pose. Ooh, and notice whatever it is you notice. I noticed how hard that last exercise was. Rolling up onto my forearms, peeling my navel, my pubic bone, and my thighs up was pretty hard today. Just notice and breathe. Whew. And then with the next couple exhales, we'll come up to a really easy seated shape. So you could sit crisscross applesauce. You could sit back on your ankles. If you want your feet out in front of you, that's great too. We will not be here very long. So we're going to just feel the ground, nice and supportive. Find your belly button to your pubic bone. And we want to really keep this low area really stable. So not a whole lot of movement. Okay. A little more movement up here. We're just going to work on twisting side to side through the rib cage. Let the shoulders rest down out of the ears. And we'll just do 3 more to each side. So belly button to pubic bone, low front belly, low back, stable and strong. Sit bones heavy. And then we'll come back after this one to the left and we'll decide. We'll either sit for the last few moments or we'll roll onto your back. So totally your choice. Returning to a supportive shape. So sitting, lying on your back or your side. Coming back to feel the ground, to feel the earth support you. To check back in with yourself. And as we check in, this is a wonderful time, again, to really practice mindful self-compassion, being kind, being curious. Might practice gratitude Feeling appreciation for the strength of your body, for your breath, for your commitment to practice and take care of yourself. And we'll just take the next full minute here on our own, breathing, noticing, being in the present moment. And coming back to your body, breathing, noticing what you notice. As you feel your next couple of breaths, just starting some really easy, subtle movements. Even if you're seated, maybe you just tap your fingers on your knees, or if you're on your back, you draw your knees into your chest, or you just start by wiggling your toes or your fingers. And those movements that interconnect. If you're on your back, maybe you start to roll a little bit side to side. If you're seated, you could take your arms out and up. Just let your body lead. And we'll just slowly all make our way on up to sitting. And then when we get up, let's just take a big upper body stretch, maybe a little side bends. Thanks, everybody. Happy kind of sunny Friday. High fives. It's good to see so many of you. Right on. See you Tuesday.